Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're all having a fantastic day so far. I'll tell you what, I live here in Ohio and it is snowy and it is windy and it is cold, but it's super bright out. It's a pretty morning. But in today's video, we wanted to take a little bit of time to break down some recent criticism that Clayster, among other pros, had with the map Crossroads. So as I go ahead and bring up this scene, you can see that this was a tweet from Clayster. It did get a lot of play. A lot of pros responded to it. And the lead game designer from Treyarch also responded to it, talking about some potential changes that are coming soon. So essentially what happens is New York was playing on the map Crossroads, and we're here in P4 on the top left-hand side of the map. And essentially there's just a series here where they go through and spawns kind of ping pong flip flop all over the place. So we're going to watch it. We're going to talk about it. And then we're going to discuss the map in general, because I'm not sure that the change that Treyarch's lead game designer is what the map really needs either. So let's go ahead. Let's make this full screen and let's play this so you can see that Clayster's number 2 right here inside the hill. And really, right now, spawns are kind of all over the place. As of right now, they're not terrible. You can see that this red team is getting this old P4 spawn, and it's probably warranted because they were just here. They're pushing there, so they are getting that spawn. It looks like New York is spawning out, so they're pushing through Catwalk and over here through P3. So right now, everything seems to be okay. It doesn't seem terrible. As we press play, though, now, this isn't necessarily all that bad either. We can see that this red number 7 arrow spawns over here, and as he spawns there, this was the previous red team spawn, and there's a lot of congestion happening right here, so that's okay, right? And red team no longer has control of the hard point. So the other main spawn for P4 is up here to the right of P1. But these blue arrows are possibly a little bit too close to that spawn, so they had no option but to spawn them out. But things do get a little quirky, like right here. So this changes like by the frame, so we'll do our best to break it down. But why in the world this guy spawned right here with that red number 7 arrow right behind him? Nobody has any idea. And the situation here really hasn't changed much. The only thing that's changed is, I mean, a couple people from the red squad have died, which is Paris, by the way. So a couple people from Paris have died, but now 8 spawns here, but nothing has really changed. The only reason why he would spawn there is because 4 spawned here, which would block off this spawn, which is where 7 spawned. So now 8 has to be forced to spawn over here. It just doesn't seem great. Let's go ahead. Let's continue to play this. But again, as more Paris members come up, they're spawning down in that old P4 area of the map, which is, it's okay. It might be where they should be spawning. Now, this does make sense. So 4 and 1 spawn out over towards P2. Again, if you're thinking about the main spawn areas, they can't spawn here because 7's there. They can't spawn here because all of these red arrows are here. So the only place the game can spawn them is out over here in this main P2 spawn. It is what it is. It's not terrible. It seems a little off because now 4 has a shot at 7 from behind. But now, so again, another blue arrow came up down here towards old P4. And that makes sense because, again, over here, this is kind of too close for them to spawn, and we are on P4. So again, the P4 main spawns are here and here. And if there's nobody down here in this old P4 area of the map, then if blue team has control of P4 and there's nobody blocking that P4 spawn, it's where they should end up. So we're just going to let this continue to play out. It goes back over towards P1. And now we can see P1 spawns. You have on the left, you have over towards the right. Clayster dies, comes up off of spawn. He's spawning over towards P2, which is where, if you're New York, this is where you want to spawn. Let's just continue to let this play out. Now, this is a little bit odd, right? And I think a lot of this happens because there's nobody inside the hard point, right? The hard point is just open at the moment. But New York is spawning here. You do have this third member rotating down over towards ice. So it looks like he's trying to get the cuts as he tries to rotate over. So in a perfect world, this right here doesn't really make sense. This blue arrow that just came up off spawn right here, there's no reason why he shouldn't be spawning here. The only potential reason is that 8 is a little bit too close and somebody just died right there. So unless the cutoff line is like right in here as they start pushing out towards P1, but still, it just seems a little bit too close. So we'll continue to watch this out right here. Diamond Khan gets 2 kills from behind. And as that happens, now Diamond Khan has pushed up the left side of the map. So again, game logic doesn't really have any other choice, but it spawns them out over towards P2 directly behind Clayster. Clayster doesn't realize it because why would he be spawning there? But there's so many things right now that are blocked. Everybody's fighting for that P2 spawn. So P2 is right here. Clayster is blocking potentially this spawn over here. Diamond Khan is blocking this spawn. So the game doesn't know where to put them except for in the same locations, just spawning them out a little bit further. So at this point, you're thinking, if you're New York, well, we have both things locked down. We have these 2 arrows in the middle of the map that might be watching a potential cross. The only problem is that Diamond Khan over here is pushed up too far. So we'll continue to watch this play out. Clayster gets killed from behind. As soon as that happened, Diamond Khan right here on the top left gets killed from behind. And again, it's the same story. So now, if you're thinking about where people are spawning, this spawn is blocked by these red arrows. This spawn is blocked by number 8, who is fire. I mean, there's just so much up in the air. And this is also what happens when the map is so tight and so close like it is. There's only a couple places that they can spawn on this really small map. So the blue arrows are down here on the right. They get spawned over here, over towards the left. And you can we don't really need to go too far into this much longer, but we can just kind of see that things are a little bit all over the place. So let's go back. Let's take a look at this, and there is a change coming. So Matt Scruntz, who is, again, if we click on his profile, is the lead game designer for Treyarch, in response to this said soon, and he tweeted this picture. So obviously this shows P4 in the top left, and it shows it moving over here towards ice. Now, as we take a look at that, let's kind of talk through it. So right here, we have the mini map for Crossroads Hardpoint. Obviously right now, P4 is up there. I just haven't changed it in my graphic yet, but it's not going to be there much longer anyways. So if P4 comes down over here, and this is the new P4, let's talk about how they're located. So first of all, this is better. It's no doubt it's a better change. But if we're looking at this, we have P1, which is essentially a contested hardpoint right here, top middle. And we have P4 at the bottom. This is also going to be a contested hardpoint. Now, for P4, the general consensus is going to be that the team that's getting this spawn has a little bit of an advantage because they'll be able to head glitch this ridge right here and get kills as the team on the right tries to push towards P4. So there will definitely be an advantage on that side of the map. However, we will have to see how exactly the lines of sight work, because if you're the team that's spawning on the right, you have these windows up here in top catwalk where you can shoot down, but that's what makes it a contested hardpoint, right? So P4 could potentially be down there, which means we have P1 and we have P4 that are contested hardpoints. And overall, that kind of makes sense, because if you're talking about the money hills, P2 would be a money hill, you want to be spawning on this side, and P3 would be a money hill, you want to be spawning on this side. So if you're thinking about, is the competitive integrity of the map intact? It absolutely is. You have P1, you have P4, which are basically going to be contested, or you really do have to get team wipes to get time on P1 and P4, and then P2 and P3, you'll be fighting for the right side spawns or the left side spawns. The only thing that I would suggest, and this is kind of what happens when you only have 4 hard points, because the first one has to be in the middle. So you either have 2 hard points that are on the same side, or you have 2 hard points that are contested. This is one thing that I think Modern Warfare did really well. There weren't a ton of them, but I think the map design and where the hard points were, not necessarily the map design, but where they placed the hard point hills, they did a really nice job. So if you wanted to put P1 right here, then I like having 5 total hills, because now you can rotate to all 5 corners of the map. So I think it would be perfect if P2 was in an area like this, top right of the map. P3 was in an area like this, top left of the map. P4 was down here somewhere in this area, whether it's here or there, somewhere. So you're now utilizing the bottom right side of the map. Then instead of P4 being over here, this could be P5. So again, I'm not sure how much this fixes, but what it does is it ping pongs the hills back from one side of the map to the other. And this is where, if you can chain a couple of these hills together, if you have P2, so let's just say you're New York, you have control of P2, and with 30 seconds left, you successfully push through P1, you're able to get kills in these areas right here, and you're able to gain this top spawn, and it's going to take Paris, and it's going to spawn Paris down here towards ice. That's how you end up winning a game, right? You successfully chain together, at least if you're thinking in terms of like last year's Call of Duty, you successfully chain 2 hard points together that are on opposite sides of the map. Now that's where you start to take advantage, and that's how you really win a map. So it is what it is. I think the move for P4 will definitely be better, but I still think if you were to just have 5 hard points instead of 4, I just think that it works out a little bit better. So if you guys are new around here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Any comments whatsoever? Do you agree with the changes? How do you feel about the changes? Stuff like that, put them down below. Leave a like if you don't mind, as it really helps out the channel. And with that, thank you guys so much. We'll see you in tomorrow's upload.